Okay, so high value items in prison.
Yeah.
Okay, so any contraband is high value. So if we're talking that's legal or versus illegal, right? Ciggies kind of, but I think vapes more. Definitely steroids.
Why is steroids such a high value item? Because everyone should get
everybody's
buff?
there. That's all they're trying to do, right? Like, you want to talk about being around chicks with eating disorders? I was around a bunch of dudes with eating disorders. Like, everybody there, that's all they talk about. Like, it's either a fart joke, a gay joke, or they're talking about their diet or exercise. Yeah. That's it. Like, there's no other conversations because you run out of things to talk about. So, yeah. So everybody there, if you're totally like lazy, then you're not doing anything. But most guys there like take the opportunity at least to get in shape. They might not get in shape mentally or spiritually or emotionally, but they get in shape physically because that's something you can do. And so everybody's like working out and using steroids and things like that. But in terms of high value, so stamps is that's the currency. And then depending on what the candy bar is for the week, you can go, mackerels and tunas. Those are good, like staple currency. If they have a really good candy bar that week and you buy a bunch of them, then those are good things. Those are high value. Or if you have contraband, if you have any like candy, or if you have like cinnamon rolls. So like the kitchen had like the only food on the place that was like commercially, but like all the food there that they served was like definitely dangerous to eat. Like my stomach turned into like fucking like, I'm just like iron stomach now after that. But the only part that had like really commercially like viable food was the bakery. The bakers, they ran that place like a trap house. So like the main baker, he'd been in jail for like 20 years or something like that. He'd only been free for like 5 of his adult years, and he had 10 kids with 10 different women. What? And that was like his claim to fame. Yeah, dude. Like the dude was straight fucking. You know what I mean? Like he had it going on. You know, but he's like
it's fine when I'm out of prison. I've got kids.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of kids. But so what he did was he was a drug trafficker, right? So he set up the bakery like a trap house, and so he'd go in the morning, and he'd only let people work there with him that would like be his like foot soldiers. So he'd make the bread for the morning, and then he'd go and make cinnamon rolls or donuts because he was like in good with the police that worked there. We call them cops, the guards that worked in the kitchen. And then he would give all of his donuts, each of his employees, they weren't really his employees, but his foot soldiers that worked there, they'd take like 30 donuts each. And then they'd go back to the dorms and sell them off for stamps. And then he'd take his cut.
Oh, shit.
And it was just hilarious to watch because he'd smuggle them out of the kitchen right when everybody was going in for breakfast or for lunch. So you'd watch everybody's, they say, I forgot what they'd say. Chow or something. I forgot what they'd say. I used to know it. And then everybody would come, like 300 or 400 people would walk up and stand in line to eat. And then you'd see all these bakers with like bags, like walking off like that movie Heat, you know what I mean? With the bank robbers and the sunglasses on, and they're just like, they're going the opposite flow of traffic, and so nobody knows that they're smuggling it out.
I love that. You snitched on everybody, Master Keith. No.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I like this guy. So there was a female pod next to the one I was in. Everyone would talk to the chicks through the electrical outlet wiring conduit.
That would have been dope.
Oh shit! So like through the wall.
That would have been dope, man. Like we had no girls there, dude. Like
hitting on girls like, girl, I'm gonna get out you when I get out.
I love it.
And you come out and it's completely different girl than what you thought she was gonna look like.
Well, I mean, when you're in prison, like you can see, like, because there were women that worked there, but they were definitely varying degrees of attractive. But the guys in there, they would say the dirtiest things about these women. I'm just
really?
Like, oh, yeah, dude, yeah.
So Eagle Eyes asked if you learned how to watch TV from your cell.
From the cell. Okay.
That's a thing?
Yeah, well, okay. So the only time I was actually in a cell was when I first got there. And that was because they have COVID lockdown. So I had to go for 3 weeks, basically solitary confinement. And that was really like what changed pretty much my entire life, because I don't know if anybody's ever done anything like that, but it's really, really, really just different from normal life. if you're in normal life, you're already like, you're addicted to sugar, you're addicted to dopamine, you're addicted to social media. I was also using lots of drugs and alcohol. I was having sex regularly, all these things, right? And then you go into a room and they literally give you, I had a Bible. That's all I had, a Bible. And I had a little like cup of milk. And once I drank the milk out of the cup, then I could use that for water. And then I had a cellie, which is like a roommate. Luckily, he was like my age, a little bit younger than me, and he had been in trouble for like marijuana, and he was cool as shit. And so we had no problems. But that's it. And so for 3 weeks, and they didn't let you out of the cell like maybe like 30 minutes every 2 or 3 days.
Wow.
But they have this little hole in the this little glass like hole in the door that you can look down, and they had TVs, and yeah, so you could watch. But I never got up and did that because it required me standing there and looking. You didn't hear anything, so
you just have to wonder what you're watching.
Yeah, and so I used it as a time to like reflect on life. I had to just tell myself I wasn't a major loser, really, and it was cool. Like I detoxified myself. And then when I got out and like felt the fresh air and the birds and the sunlight and all this stuff, like I had this newfound like appreciation for life that's never left me.
Wait, so Eagle Eye says, if you tell the guards to shut the cell, you put your toilet paper in between the bars, then you sit a mini mirror on it and you can see the TV in jail.
Probably.
Oh shit!
But we didn't have bars, but yeah, I could see you doing that for sure.
I stick a roll of toilet paper with a mirror watch. Eagle Eyes is in jail right now. He's watching. No, just kidding.
That's nice.
He's watching from jail. He smuggled a computer in.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So then, tell us something else. What's like did you have to fit into a hierarchy?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that you're part. Yeah, you're part of the cards, or it's called a car. We use selling carbs. Yeah, so like I was in with the whites, right? So, and then they have a leader of the whites, right? So as long as you like just don't mess with anybody, then that's the hierarchy. You've got the guards, then you got the car you're in, which was the whites, and then they have the leader of the whites. But I mean, we're white, right? So nobody's that crazy, right? You know what I mean? So that's all it was. But you really just don't mess with anybody. I had the unfortunate luck of having really nasty bunkies. The
like first stinky nasty or mean?
No, just like gnarly dudes. Like
How many people in a bunk in a room? You're in
a hall,
mm-hmm.
and there's 16 cubes. And each cube has a bunk. So there's 32, I think there's, 32 people that can be in the hall. And it's all open. You have these little dividers, but that's what it is. Yeah. So you know everything that's going on the whole time. Like, so my bunkie, like the first bunkie was like this old, like his claim to fame, his name was Ricky. He had like teeth missing here. And
he was in the drug unit. That's where he was, Mike.
Yeah, the drug unit. Yep. Yeah, the drug unit. So, but the first time when I first got there, I wasn't in the drug unit. I was in the normal one. And Ricky, he was his second time at that same prison. And he hired me on the spot because he was a cook in the kitchen. And he's like, oh, you're hired. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you need a job, right? I was like, well, I have to get a job. He's like, well, you're hired. He's like, you'll be great for the kitchen. I was like, why? And he did like that on his arm. And it meant because I was white.
Oh.
The Mexicans and the Paisas controlled the bakery, but the white dudes controlled the cooking, the kitchen.
Okay.
And it's a big deal because it controls the food, right? And everybody's like, don't work in the kitchen, that sucks. But I did, and it was actually pretty fun. But anyway, this dude, his claim to fame was that he was the first mobile meth lab in Oregon.
Yeah.
And so like basically they wrote Breaking Bad about this dude, but it was not glamorous at all. And he was from this place called Cave Junction, and it was like, he's like, you couldn't handle the cave. That's how he talked like that. What? And he was like super racist.